Hello, and welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I've got a very special video for you today, something that I've been meaning to work on for a long time, and something that I can finally share with you. As per the title, I'm going to be ranking my 25 favorite films of 2025, but I do have a few disclaimers that I need to run through. The first is that this list only consists of films that came out in the year 2025. The second is, obviously, that these are not among all of the films that came out in 2025. I'm missing some pretty heavy hitters like Weapons, Bugonia, Train Dreams, and plenty of other ones, but the reality is I just haven't had the time or ability to watch these movies, so this list is the best you're gonna get. And number 3, probably the most important, is that I am not a film critic. I don't know all of the intricacies of making a film, the important components of what makes a film great. I just go to the movie theater or my couch, and if I enjoy the experience, then I like the movie. Obviously, there's gonna be some spoilers, so beware of that. Wait, I'm sorry, I lied. I actually ended up watching 26 new movies last year, but I just feel like 26 movies in 2025 doesn't quite have the same ring to it as 25 does. I'll throw in an extra movie as a thank you for clicking on this video. Without further ado, here are my 25 favorite films of 2025.
God damn it! Viva la revolution!
Coming in at number 26 is Daniel Day-Lewis's return to the big screen in a film directed by his son, Ronan. This one really fell flat for me. Whether it was the drip feeding of information or the very strange extraterrestrial shape thing, humanoid, whatever, that somehow found its way into the film towards the end, I really struggled to connect with the film. Nostalgia, nepotism, call it whatever you want. I was not a huge fan. Number 25 is... It is a shame that I didn't like this movie because its discussion on postpartum depression is an important one and something that Jennifer Lawrence took time to speak about during the film's press tour. However, no matter how deep and meaningful the plot may be, I failed to really connect with either Lawrence or Robert Pattinson's characters. I will say that my dislike for this movie probably has far more to do with me than the film itself. 24 is... I just do not like superhero movies. I don't know what it is. Something about them is just so jarring to me. I'm not sure if it's the absurdity of what it means to be a superhero or if it's the film's insistence that superheroes are this normal part of humanity. I don't know. Either way, I just find the big fights in the middle of densely populated cities laughable. Sentry's origin was quite cool, and so too was his disappearing powers. Nothing to write home about. This one hurts. Number 23 is... I love Minecraft and have been actively playing it for over a decade now. When I heard that a movie was going to be made, I was incredibly excited. When I saw it though, I was, well, let's just say disappointed. I think I forgot who the target audience of Minecraft is and expected this film to somehow reach the fun imagination of children while also providing an enjoyable experience for us Gen Zers. However, when the daughter and mother sitting 2 rows below me left 3/4 of the way through the movie and I, a 20-year-old man, was left alone in a theater watching the Minecraft credits roll, I realized something. Maybe I am no longer a kid. I expected it to be something it never really was, and once I accepted that, it was easier. With all that said, the animation style was absolutely atrocious, but I did love the shout out to Technoblade. Alright, sorry about that rant. Number 22 is... A period piece set literally 5 years ago was definitely going to be a tough tightrope to walk, especially with tensions surrounding its subject matter still wildly debated. I thought the 2 main characters were played very well by Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal, but the behavior of everyone was so obnoxious that I just felt myself cringing the whole time. Now, yes, I completely understand that the film was going for this uncomfortability as a tool to get the audience to actively criticize where we are as a society. But remember, my ranking isn't about how well the directors achieved their thematic goal, but rather how much I personally enjoyed the viewing experience, and I unfortunately did not really enjoy Eddington. Alright, so the first 5 films were all movies that I didn't like for one reason or another. The next several, well, still kind of low on the list. I wouldn't say I didn't like, they just didn't have anything super fun or interesting about them. They're kind of in like movie list limbo, I guess you could say. And the first of those movies at number 21 is... I've got this first date thriller coming in at number 21. It was an interesting movie that made its 90-minute runtime fly by. I was always curious about who the hidden texter was, but sort of forgot about it when I left. Still nothing terrible about it. Number 20 is biopic about Bruce Springsteen's writing of the album Nebraska, this film follows the artist's creative conflicts, external pressures, and internal struggles. One of my friends mentioned that modern biopics turn into nothing burgers, and she's right, this one is no different. Still a nice movie. Number 19 is the very last film I actually saw of 2025. It's easy to root for Emma Mackey's Ella in this film, sort of like the Leslie Knope of the federal government. She's constantly being bound by the red tape and lack of effort surrounding her, but continues to do what's right for her and her constituents. Jamie Lee Curtis, as always, really steals the show. Number 18 is a reimagining of the 1989 comedy The War of the Roses, which itself was based on a novel with the same name. This one was a fun film that really kept you on your toes. You found yourself laughing at and with both characters as they struggled to find common ground. The final scene is really funny. Number 17 on the list is corny? Yes. A bit cringy at times? Definitely. Predictable? Abso-freaking-lutely. However, the visuals really make up for it. I'm sure for F1 fans it might have been mildly annoying to listen to the commentators repeat very basic rules, but I found that to be such a clever way to help people like me understand what the hell was going on. The shots of the racer's POV behind the wheels were great. Fun fact, this is the first of only 2 films on this list that I did not watch in theaters. Now, I could talk about this Frankenstein for an entire video, but I will keep my comments somewhat concise, or try to at least. Off the bat, I'll say that there is a lot to this film that I really like. The performances are great, the visuals and lighting are spectacular, really felt like a good, spooky Halloween movie. However, on the technical side, I really don't like how far this film falls from Mary Shelley's version. I think the story of Frankenstein, the true original story, is one of the greatest in all of literature and doesn't need to be changed all that much. The worst part about it for me is that Victor never really felt scared of the creature. He just seemed frustrated with its lack of, I don't even know, intelligence, I guess? I was just disappointed with it, that's all. Number 15 is I felt like we were lacking some Wes Anderson, so I'm glad we've got him on the list. I think Wes Anderson is such a tough director to follow, unique in everything he does. You really need to see his films twice or even 3 times to even begin to understand everything that's going on, and I, unfortunately, didn't have a chance to watch this a second time. Maybe if I had, it would be higher on the list, but for now, it's only middle of the road. Another film that was middle of the road, coming in at number 14, is This was a really nice movie with Josh O'Connor and Paul Mescal delivering great performances. Hearing the music from the different places they visited made the journey feel meaningful. The shots were stunning. I really liked this movie. At number 13, the first and only fully animated movie on my list is I honestly think this one might be better than the first. Gary the Snake was a great inclusion in the franchise, and the story was every bit as sweet and important as the first one. Andy Samberg as Paubert is phenomenal casting. Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps have done it again. At 12, I was very excited for this film from the first time I saw the trailer. Such an interesting plot. The color grading in this one was top-notch and really made things look great. The one mark I have against it is that possibly the sweetest moment of the entire film is negated literally 20 minutes later. Still, it's a good movie. And I can't blame Elizabeth Olsen because I too would not know what to do if I had to choose between Miles Teller and Callum Turner. 11 is I am a sucker for World War II movies, and this one is absolutely no different. I really like the depth of Rami Malek's Douglas as well as his relationship with Goring. Michael Shannon was also brilliant as Justice Robert Jackson. And as always, the real footage of the atrocities of that time are a brutal reminder of the worst of humanity. Tough to watch, but necessary to see. Alright, we are finally at the top 10, and I think now is a great time to once again remind everyone that I am not a film critic. I'm going to try really hard to not sound snobby and pretentious when I talk about the next several films. Because of that, I might fall victim to just saying that I like the movie and moving on. That might get kind of annoying, and if it gets too annoying, I'm giving you full permission to click off the video. At number 10, I've got a great film based on Maggie O'Farrell's 2020 book of the same name. It follows William Shakespeare after the death of his son Hamnet and during his making of one of his most famous plays, Hamlet. However, I would say that it instead looks closer at how his wife Agnes deals with their loss, and how she finds purpose in her son's absence. Jessie Buckley was amazing, and I see her winning Best Actress, along with the film itself winning Best Adapted Screenplay. The first of the two Safdie brothers films, coming in at number 9, is Benny Safdie's The Smashing Machine follows amateur wrestler and MMA fighter Mark Kerr's search for success amid his struggles with drugs. Sometimes we don't always win, and the reality of that is what this movie does so well. Emily Blunt and The Rock are great. Big fan of this one. Number 8 is I love this movie, even though I really didn't know where it was going. Brilliant message, even better performances. Whenever Stellan Skarsgård speaks, you listen, but even he plays a backseat role to sisters Nora and Agnes, played by Renate Ransve and Inga Ipsodottir Lillis. I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing either of their names right, but I hope I am. And also, side note, Stellan Skarsgård monologue in Andor is one of, if not the greatest speech in all of film, not just Star Wars.
So what do I sacrifice? Everything!
At number 7 is an interesting and brilliant and sad story about employing people to fill the holes in our lives. As Philip, Brendan Fraser delivers a great performance and makes you understand the complexities of his predicaments. The wedding scene was really, really cute, and Philip's relationship with his daughter Mia, played by Shannon Gorman, was also a nice story. 6 on the list is the vampire and blues thriller/horror seems to be everyone's favorite, and it is clear to see why. The film looks to tackle a lot, but never feels too overwhelming. Michael B. Jordan is great, the music is phenomenal, and that one scene, you know the one, might be the greatest of the entire year. Also, the irony of the mainstream response to this film and people that are in the film is certainly not lost on me. I hope it wins all of the awards. Alright, now we are into the top 5, and starting us off at number 5 is
God damn it! Viva la revolution!
Wow, what a wild ride. It took a while to get going, but as soon as it picked up, you knew where it was headed. The Christmas Adventurers Club was hilarious. Paul Thomas Anderson does a great job of building tension, and the car chase scene is a perfect example of that. Some of the satirical elements didn't quite land for me, but I think it was a great commentary on where we are right now as a society. Leonardo DiCaprio does a great job depicting anxious chaos, and every time Benicio del Toro was on the screen, it was perfection. Also, I am forever indebted to this film for showing me the greatest version of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Shout out to Ella Fitzgerald.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Alright, before we get into the top 4, I must say that it was so tough deciding between these films, as it was tough deciding between the last couple. All of them bring something different to the table, and I literally cannot wait to watch all of them again at some point. As soon as it was revealed that Rian Johnson was coming out with a third Knives Out movie, I was so excited. I felt that Glass Onion was slightly underwhelming, but Wake Up Dead Man made up for it and then some. The ensemble didn't do as much as they did in the first 2 films, but I thought that gave more time for Benoit Blanc, played by Daniel Craig, and Father Judd, played by Josh O'Connor, to have a greater relationship. I think it is still only slightly worse than the first installment, but O'Connor is definitely my favorite of Blanc's 3 sidekicks. The lighting inside the church was excellently done, though maybe a little repetitive, and the phone call scene with Father Judd is the epitome of what Christianity should be. Great movie. Top 3 time, and number 3 is... Before I talk about this film, I must say that I love how Timothée Chalamet talks about success like an athlete rather than an actor. He wants to be the best and isn't going to be sucked into the modest, nonchalant attitude of Hollywood. Fair play to him. And quite honestly, I thought he was so good. The pacing was fast without being rushed, and although it went off in many directions, I still felt that it was a cohesive character study. You don't get all of the answers in the end, but I feel like that is important for Marty's character. His ambition has left his life uncertain, and that too is where we must finish. Also, who knew Tyler the Creator could act? I, for one, did not. Alright, number 2 is... I don't think I have ever seen anything with Channing Tatum, though after this movie I might have to. And I was surprised at how good he was. I really like the inclusion of real people who experienced this police chase sprinkled throughout the movie, the random lady at the church breakfast, and so on. This film was an excellent exploration of how far one will go to support themselves and their family. The heist scenes are exciting and funny, and in a weird way, it's sort of a feel-good movie. And speaking of a feel-good movie, my number 1 favorite film of 2025 is The Ballad of Wallace Island. I will admit that I did see this movie nearly 10 months ago. In fact, it was the first movie of 2025 that I saw. So maybe I am only remembering the good parts, but I really don't think so. This movie was funny when it wanted to be, yet sad when it needed to. Tim Key as Charles was a fantastic choice, and his performance really makes the movie what it is. A beautiful depiction of love in the face of loss. Carey Mulligan and Tom Basden are also great, and the ending of the movie is just perfect. In a year of amazing films, this one, for me, is the best. Alright, that does it. Those are my top 25 films of 2025. If you have made it this far, I cannot thank you enough for watching. I really, really do appreciate you. Go ahead and get involved in the comments. Let me know what your favorite movie of 2025 was. Maybe it was on my list, maybe it wasn't. Either way, I'm sure it was a great one. Alright, that does it for this video. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.